Try it right now. Close your eyes and reach for your earliest memory. Go on, push past the fog. Most people land somewhere around age 3 or 4. Everything before that is blank, not fuzzy, not dim, gone. But here's the strange part. You weren't unconscious as a baby. You were awake. You were learning language, recognizing faces, forming bonds that would shape the rest of your life. So where did all of it go? The easy answer is that babies just don't remember things. The real answer is far stranger. Your infant brain wasn't failing to store memories. It was actively building itself in a way that made those memories impossible to keep. You didn't lose your first 2 years. You were never given the architecture to hold on to them in the first place. This gap has a name. Scientists call it infantile amnesia. Sigmund Freud coined the term over a century ago, and he had a theory about it. He believed the memories were repressed, buried by the mind because they were somehow too threatening to face. For decades, that idea lingered, but modern neuroscience tells a very different story. It's not repression, it's construction. Your brain wasn't hiding anything from you. It simply hadn't finished building the machinery required to file memories away for long-term storage. Here's where it gets interesting. Babies do remember things, just not the way you'd expect. In the 1980s, a researcher named Carolyn Rovee-Collier ran a series of experiments using something almost comically simple, a mobile hung above a crib, tied to a baby's ankle with a ribbon. When the baby kicked, the mobile moved. Within minutes, infants as young as 2 or 3 months old learned the connection. They kicked harder. They kicked with purpose. And weeks later, when researchers brought back the same mobile, the babies remembered. They started kicking again before anyone touched the ribbon. So the memory was there. It just wasn't the kind of memory you can consciously access. It was a procedural memory, the kind that lives in the body rather than the storytelling part of the mind. Think about it. Right now you can ride a bike, or type without looking at the keys, or recognize your mother's voice in a crowded room. You didn't consciously memorize any of that. Your body just knows. That's the same system that was working overtime when you were an infant. It just wasn't building the kind of memory that comes with a timestamp and a story attached. That second kind of memory, the kind where you can say, I was 5 and this happened to me, is called autobiographical memory. And building it requires something a baby's brain simply doesn't have yet. A researcher named Patricia Bauer spent years studying exactly when this system comes online. Her work shows that autobiographical memory depends on a specific brain region called the hippocampus, and on language development strong enough to organize experience into a narrative. A story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. A baby's brain hasn't learned to tell stories yet, not even to itself. But there's an even stranger piece of the puzzle, and it comes from an unexpected place. Mice. In 2014, a neuroscientist named Paul Frankland ran a study on infant mice that reshaped how scientists think about early memory loss. Frankland's team found that the hippocampus in young mammals produces new neurons at an extraordinary rate. This process is called neurogenesis, and it's wonderful for growth. It helps a young brain adapt, learn, and expand its capacity fast. But it comes with a brutal trade-off. Every time a new neuron is born and wired into an existing memory circuit, it can disrupt or overwrite the connections already stored there. The very process that makes a baby's brain so flexible is the same process erasing what came before it. Read that again. Growth erases. Isn't that unsettling? Frankland's team tested this directly. They slowed down neurogenesis in young mice, and the mice held on to early memories longer. Then they sped up neurogenesis in older mice, and the older mice started forgetting things the way infants do. The pattern held. More new neurons, more forgetting. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a mechanism hardwired into the way mammal brains build themselves. So here is the twist nobody expects. Your inability to remember being a baby isn't a flaw in your brain. It's the price of construction. Every skill you gained in those first 2 years, walking, talking, recognizing safety, learning that a face leaving the room doesn't mean it's gone forever. All of that came from a brain rewiring itself at a blistering pace. That same rewiring wiped the specific memories underneath it. You couldn't keep the diary and build the house at the same time. Something had to give. And this changes what those blank years actually mean. You weren't a blank slate lying in a crib waiting for life to begin. You were doing the most intense learning of your entire existence, and your brain sacrificed the